And the pledge. Dear God, as we near the end of the hurricane season, we are grateful that our city was spared from the wrath of storms this year. We recall the impact Idalia had on other parts of our state, and our thoughts remain with those affected as they recover from that storm's effects. A key role for us in elected office and on city staff is the protection of our city. This includes looking for county programs to support significant projects like Alexander Island, seeking appropriations from our state legislature for initiatives larger than local funds can cover, and advocating for changes when we see laws that have potential negative effects on us. As we work to uphold our obligations, which are reflected in the matters before us this evening, grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that we may make the best decisions for those who have entrusted us to represent them. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the special City Council meeting for the month of November. City Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Sell.
Here.
Councilmember Pappalardo.
Here.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Here.
Mayor Chazet.
Here.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
Here. Are there any deletions or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move to agenda item number 1. The applicant, Johnson Development Associates, has requested a development order extension for the Haven at DeBerry.
All right, good afternoon or good evening. Stephen Bapgrove, Management Director. I'll be presenting this item. The Haven at DeBerry is located in the southern part of our city in the old Clayton site. It's highlighted in the teal triangular or rectangular shaped form in the middle of the screen. The project itself is templated to be a mixed-use project with 2 commercial all parcels and residential units located further east in the property. Some project dynamics about it is 14.44 acres, 240 multifamily dwelling units, 2 commercial all parcels, and has already gone through our DRC process and has made all the appropriate pre-construction activities. However, their development order has expired, as development orders, once issued from the city, have a shelf life of 360 days. We are entering towards the end of that period, and the applicant is within the 3-month renewal window for a 360-day extension. Just a general timeline. Last year in February, we gave them their development order, and this October, they asked for their development order to be extended. So everything's still on track with the project. Staff recommends that the City Council approve an extension for the Haven at DeBerry for an additional 360 days for their preliminary plat and construction plan. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a speaker card from Carrie Ann Wilson, if she would, and she is representing the Haven at DeBerry, so be eager to hear what she has to say.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Appreciate your time this evening. Really appreciate your consideration of our extension. Unfortunately, the market conditions right now are not allowing for us to move forward with the development, but we are the owner of the property, and we're really excited that one day we will be able to proceed, and appreciate your votes tonight in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sell, questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Pappalardo?
No questions.
Councilmember Stevenson?
I was curious if they had any estimate on when they would be starting. If we're extending this for a year, do you expect construction to begin this year, or do you think it would be longer based on whatever market conditions have caused the delay?
The delay is really related to a number of factors. Construction costs are still at a high point. They really haven't decreased yet. And our financing costs have increased. Also, insurance has increased as well. So we need some stabilization in the insurance and the financing markets to really have a financeable project. Hopefully, those construction costs come down a little bit too to help mitigate that equation.
Thank you for that explanation.
Of course.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
I'm okay, Mayor, thank you.
And Councilmember Stevenson already voiced my question. I am hoping that sometime in the coming year, you will find the time is right to proceed. If there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the development order of extension for the Haven at DeBerry.
Second,
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
yes.
Councilmember Papalardo.
Yes.
Councilmember Sell.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Item number 2 on our agenda, the applicant, KBC Development, has requested a development order extension for the Commerce Park projects.
Once again, Stephen Babb, Growth Management Director, I will be giving this presentation too. The Commerce Park is located along 1792 and Shaw Road and along Spring Vista Drive. It is highlighted in the blue outline in the center of your screen, and the wood, and it is a uncleared site. It's totally wooded. The project is predicted to be a commercial and industrial layout, as you see on the diagram, with the buildings and supported internal infrastructure. It does consist of 9 industrial buildings and 2 commercial all parcels, and is about 23.7 acres in size. Once again, the city did give a development order after it's been through its development review with the DRC. That development order is reaching the end of its shelf life of 360 days, and the applicant has requested an extension within the applicable 3-month before or after expiration timeline. Again, here's the timeline for the project. This would be the first extension this project's had, and the applicant is going through the same negotiations and things that happen on projects these days with, cost delays, and he's trying to stabilize the site a little bit more. So we would request that the City Council extend this for another 360 days, and if implemented, we will issue them a development order within 5 days. Or
Thank
development
you.
order extended. Thank you.
City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
All right, Councilmember Sell, questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Papalardo.
No questions.
Councilmember Stevenson.
No questions, thank you.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
No questions.
And I have no follow-up questions either, so I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the development order extension for Commerce Park project.
Second.
Councilmember Stevenson,
Commerce,
Commerce Park
Did I say it wrong?
project. Yeah, okay. Councilmember Stevenson,
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo.
Yes.
Councilmember Sell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Item number 3, staff is presenting the timeline for the review, implementation, and adoption of the new form-based land development code.
Stephen Babb, Growth Management Director. I will go over the proposed timeline for the Land Development Code review, implementation, and adoption. The overview: in April of 2020, we began our contract with rewrite of our Land Development Code. This September, we received the first coordinated draft, and this October, we placed a 9-month growth moratorium, which was adopted by the council, so we could review the Land Development Code. At the completion of the review, we will implement all new projects under the new code. All current projects are being processed under our current code. Why did we do a new Land Development Code? We did a new Land Development Code so it could be more user-friendly, easier to understand. It's going to have updated user-friendly graphics. It'll be consistent with current planning and land law practices. It will incorporate our recent ordinances we had over the last 10 years. It will update any new laws and regulations imposed by the state or other agencies, and it will also eliminate a lot of overlap and repetitive references which were found in the current code. With any process, we'll have our internal review with our city staff and then bring our findings forward to the city council in forms of workshops. Some of them are open for public participation as we move forward. General timeline which we have developed, we're on the first line on November 15th. Our next workshop with the city council will be in January. At that time, we'll have a form-based code overview and look at our timeline again to see if there's any readjustments. In February, we'll handle the first 3 chapters of the code, which are our general provisions, our definitions, and how we will administer the code. In March, we will handle probably the largest proponent of the code, which is the form-based code section. In April, we'll handle zoning, landscaping, environmental protection, which are pretty robust. And then in May, we'll handle the remaining chapters, which include accessory structures, parking subdivisions, and signage. Followed by that review, we'll have another LDC overview of perhaps 1, maybe 2 meetings in June for the public to participate and contribute. And then in July, we anticipate moving towards a city adoption hearings of the new code with a projected implementation date of the new code of 1 August. And this time could be adjusted based on the findings of the review. If the city council, I would like to see if you have any questions on the timeline or any input you would like to add. And after this meeting, we'll go forward and implement the proposed timeline and adjust as needed.
City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay, Councilmember Sell, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Correct me if I'm wrong, does our moratorium lapse before the implementation August 1st? I believe it lapses July 1, right?
We'll verify the dates. I mean, I think the second reading was October the 18th, I believe was the second reading, so we'll count the 9 months from that particular point forward. I think the adoption will be within 9 months, and then we'll verify what the attorneys, what the exact effective date will be.
I just want to double check. I didn't want there, because that was, a lot of the intent was that we have cohesiveness at the end of this process. We don't want to have those partial applications.
Understood.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Stevenson, questions or comments?
Yes, so we had a company actually already go through the land development code for the revision, correct? And they've kind of evaluated it?
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, we did. We started with SNME, which is bought up by Inspire. Inspire did complete the review and present us a draft packet, a reorganized packet of the whole land development code.
Okay,
But there are some things that really do need a little more expansion based on some recent land law and some of the ordinances we passed locally while that production was being made. So that's,
well, like in my mind, I'm thinking that part of my evaluation for this is going to include looking at the old code that we had, which a lot of was adopted from Volusia County, as well as what this company recommended, as well as looking at some of the best practices for other towns and what they have in their code, of course, updated with all the state requirements as well. So I'm looking forward to actually getting some paperwork to start reading through and highlighting and putting Post-it notes on, as well as when we're actually having these workshops to have all 3, the old version, the new recommended version, as well as possibly looking at some other cities. Because we did that with the TOD as well, and we said, what makes a train station successful and what kind of development is successful for that? So that's what I'd be looking forward to during these workshops, to be prepared and get the best practices.
Yep. And can you just explain just a little bit about the form-based code and just a general few statements of what a form-based code is? It does change. Our land, typically land development codes were all narrative, and the form-based code changes a little bit of that.
there still will be portions of our standard zoning and R4 zoning may remain kind of the way it was, but our form-based code is really looking at, I think it really focuses on a lot of our overlay districts, the central core of the city, our gateway corridors. And it gives a little more, it's more illustrative, and it maybe not be totally specific on you must have your setback at 0 feet, but it may be you need to incorporate these elements into your design. Your buildings need to face a certain orientation to the street to present the best architectural view for new development. Things, I guess, to try to simplify what form-based code is. And that's why in January, we're going to kick hard into really explaining a good illustration of all the form-based codes. And I hear what you say about getting the packets ahead of time. The table of contents compared before and after and what items were moved around. That's what we really want to cover in the first meeting in January, is kind of go over the structure old, structure new, and then what the form-based is going to look like with some good illustrations to really make it clear what we're trying to achieve with the new land development code. I'm trying to simplify it as much.
Sure, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You'll get deep.
We'll get deep. Yeah.
Well, I was actually just, after hearing how deep we might be getting, I was starting to think, maybe do we need a committee as well? But we could probably handle it.
Between Inspire and SME and the staff has been reviewing it with them, making recommended changes based upon of our experiences
Gotcha.
and everything else. So it has been a back and forth, and it's just not SME and Inspire just saying, well, this is what you need.
Gotcha.
The staff has been providing input on each chapter in depth and going through. And it's not only input from our growth management director, it's input from our city engineer and all the planners and everybody else, looking at the changes they made, and staff is recommending, no, that's not going to work here. This is what needs to be installed here. And so what you're going to see is a collaborative effort between not only our vendor, but also staff as well, because they experience all the frustrations and details and the gray areas in their code now, and implementing what works and what is up to date. So.
Sounds good, thank you.
Vice Mayor Butland?
A couple things. You had on your dates 2023, and it should be 2024.
Yeah, August 1, 2020.
Oh,
August.
yes, of course.
Just for that. And I don't see a chapter 9 in the list. What is 9 consist of that we're missing? Are we not doing a 9?
We are doing a 9. Now, let me explain this. In your staff
I'm just
report,
looking
in your
at it.
staff report which I presented and was uploaded into the agenda, I did leave off Chapter 9, Environmental Protection. But we are going to handle Chapter 9, Environmental Protection, along with landscaping and zoning in the April, projected to be in the April.
I just wanted
Yes,
to make sure I wasn't
My
looking
senior
at some-
planner pointed that out, saying, you left off Chapter 9. I said, well, okay.
just so someone could pick it up, and that
Right,
was me.
yep, so-
I'm fine with all this. As soon as we know dates, my calendar gets kind of full very quickly, so if we're looking to do it before a meeting and after on the 3rd, 1st, or whatever, that's,
Well, what is your preference? Your preference is to try to do it the same night as the council meeting, or do you want to have separate workshops?
My preference would be that if it is a group of items that could be handled
timely.
between staff and council for an hour, that we would do it prior to a regularly scheduled meeting. If it is one of the real meaty sessions that you referred to, my preference then would be, if it's something that needs a couple of hours, we're not going to get in a contest with our neighboring jurisdictions for who can have the longest meetings. I'm not a fan of super long meetings. I think effectiveness and attentiveness goes down over time. But if there are things that can be done in 1 hour prior to the meeting, that is some of these workshops, I'd prefer it that way rather than having 3 meetings a month for the next 7 months. But if there is something like, I forget which month it was, where it was going to be particularly in-depth and multiple subjects, then I think if it's a 2-hour meeting, it ought to be standalone. That'd be sort of my gut feel.
I would agree with the mayor.
yeah. I just wanted clarification on
If
that.
it's 1 hour, it gets added. If it's a 2-hour plus meeting, it's standalone. How about that?
Okay.
Does that work for the rest of you?
That's all I have, Mayor.
Right, so
Okay.
noted.
I really would like us to, when you finalize the timeline, this is a good outline for us. I used my fingers in October 18th, and it sounds to me like July 18th would be the end of the 9 months. And so I, like Councilmember Papalardo, don't want to see any gaps. I mean, we did stretch it to 9 months to give us time to do this, but when that 9 months is up, we need to have, in my view, a code that's approved and effective, in effect, so that anything that walks in the door the next day has a code to be applicable to the project.
Absolutely.
If there's no further discussion, I would, you're seeking consensus, is that it?
Well,
Yeah,
it
so
says-
just get
yeah.
feedback, which we received from.
You received the feedback.
I'm satisfied with the feedback. We'll look at the timelines to see if it's a longer session.
Yeah,
We'll have a 2-hour presentation separately. If it's a shorter, we'll have an hour before the appointed
Sounds
council
good.
meeting. And we'll redefine the actual adoption date to be 9 months from the
from
moratorium.
the effective date of the
Yeah, so I
moratorium.
think I captured those
That's,
notes. I appreciate
sounds
it.
about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Under new business, we have item 4. The Parks and Recreation Department is requesting the council approve resolution number 2023-23 to confirm support and an effective date for the fiscal year 23-24 Echo Project for Alexander Park Phase 1 development. City Attorney, would you read resolution number 2023-23?
Resolution number 2023-23, a resolution of the City of DeBary, Volusia County, Florida, confirming support for the ECHO grant application for Alexander Island Park located at 720 Fort Florida Road, DeBary, Florida, 32713, and providing an effective date.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. So Jason Scheitz here, your Parks and Recreation Director here at the city. You've seen a few of these over the past few years. It's a requirement of the ECHO grant process, and it's our commitment to the grant application, the funding with the effective date. Our application is in right now for the technical review period. So once this gets approved, it'll go in with the final application next month. We will hopefully continue to move forward with the grant process.
Okay. City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Councilmember Sell, any questions or
Mayor,
comments?
excuse me, can we have the city attorney read the resolution into the record?
He did. Do you want a second time?
No, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
It's your turn.
Councilmember Sell.
Let's make this happen.
Councilmember Papalardo.
No questions.
Councilmember Stevenson.
No questions, thank you.
Vice Mayor Butland.
No questions for me. Thank you for your
And
time to this.
I'm all for this application.
Figured you would be. Thanks.
If there is no further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-23 to commit 50% of the project funding for the Alexander Island Park project.
Second?
Vice Mayor Butland?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Item number 5, under new business, the staff is requesting authorization to dispose of surplus property and removal of the items from capital inventory as of September 30, 2023.
Good evening, Liz Bauer, Finance Director for City of DeBary. During September of 2023, we conducted a physical inventory, and we discovered in that process some items that were either obsolete or serve no useful function anymore. And so the list was provided in the packet. These items will be removed from the inventory as of September 30, 2023. Florida statutes authorizes the disposal of any surplus property with an estimated value of less than $5,000 in the most efficient and effective means as determined by the government. And all the items in our list have a current value of less than $5,000. Some of these items can go to auction, or some will just be junked because of the condition of the items. And it's recommended that City Council approve the disposal of this surplus property to be removed from capital inventory as of September 30, 2023.
Thank you. City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay. Councilmember Sell.
I can't believe we're getting rid of our sofas. They've been there forever.
And that's the problem.
No, I don't have anything else to say.
Councilmember Papalardo.
No questions.
Councilmember Stevenson.
I'm pretty sure you guys do this, but just to make sure these computers and things, the servers, everything's all wiped clean so that nobody could access, okay.
They remove it.
Okay, thank you. So anything that's disposed of is disposed of in a way that isn't going to put the city at any risk? Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor Butland.
I'm okay with the list.
Sofas.
I would say that I did go over the list, and I don't have any issue with disposing on any of the items. If there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the disposal of surplus property as detailed in the attached listing and removal from capital inventory as of September 30, 2023.
Second?
Vice Mayor Butland?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes,
And I am a yes. Item number 6, the Finance Director is requesting the City Council approve Resolution Number 2023-24 to amend the fiscal year 2022 to 2023 budget. City Attorney, would you read Resolution Number 2023-24?
Resolution number 2023-24, a resolution of the City of DeBary, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget, changing certain reserves, revenues, and expenditures, and providing for an effective date.
Liz Bauer, Finance Director. We have a relatively short list of items to amend into the FY23 budget. I'll get started just going over the list that's provided. We had a couple of grants we need to recognize the revenue and the expenditure for. And these two grants I'm going to talk about weren't really a cash exchange. They were goods and services received. So we had a cybersecurity grant for approximately $70,000. And also the Gary Sinise Foundation donated $56,981 worth of bunker gear for our fire department. And so we'll be recording those transactions in the budget. The next item is our building permit. Permits have been very busy this year, and the revenue is about $250,000. We can adjust upwards, and therefore we have to recognize 80% of that as the expenditure for our contract service that handles that area. And this difference in that amount was about $50,000, and that will cover the Hurricane Idalia rental equipment that we had. The next item is our recreation fees. Revenue was over budget by about $25,000, and this will cover the additional costs we had in program expense and special events, handling all those events that we get the revenue for. The Parks Maintenance Department had several overages. I tried to list as many of the different things that caused their budget to be over by approximately $100,000. These included getting Alexander Island ready for the welcome event we had. We had Rob Sullivan Park had some playground repairs. We had lighting issues, generators, pumps, tractor repairs, scoreboards, and additional costs in chemicals and fertilizer, paint and clay, all the things needed to keep our parks operating effectively and beautifully as we do all year. To cover these costs, we have about $100,000 that we can put for revenue in the electric utility tax line, which will allow us not to be able to affect reserves for this overage. And there's also some items that we need to record that council has already voted on, and in the Schedule A for this resolution, I included the dates that council voted for such things as a Florence K. Little renovation project budget issue, Gateway Park entrance sign for signal engineering and permitting, and the purchase of the now property. With that, I'll have if you have any questions.
City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay. Councilmember Sell, questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Papalardo.
I'd like to say thank you. This is an excellent variance analysis. I love seeing these, and It's good to see where our cash came in and out in excess of budget, so thank you very much.
Councilmember Stevenson,
No questions, thank you.
Vice Mayor Butland.
Remind me where the Now property is?
Oh, good. You said it, not me.
That's the Palm Drive property.
That
Oh,
was
okay.
the
Is that
only
what it
one
was?
I could think of that it could possibly be.
That's what I thought, but I thought, I didn't know it is Now, so it's Now, okay. Thank you.
It's owned by the Now organization.
The Now organization that owns it.
okay.
Okay, gotcha. That's all I had.
Yes, well, you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, I was happy because I thought maybe I was the only one that
I
couldn't
looked at it.
immediately say, the Now property, yes, we really wanted that, which we did, if I understood it as the Palm Road property. I have no further questions either. I do every year like to see this reconciliation, which I know is required of us. But I'd like to see, the back and forth. In the Parks and Rec expenditures, and we have a Parks and Rec expert here, how would it be that we were significantly offsides on chemicals, fertilizer, field paint, and clay? I'm not real picky, Jason, I'm just curious.
That wasn't really the big issue this past year. Those costs have been going up for a few years now.
Yeah.
And they finally started to stabilize, so we have a better grasp on it. But those particular, we have 2 or 3 vendors that we shop around with for, try to get the best
Sure.
pricing. And we could hardly get them on a long-term contract because they couldn't hold their pricing. So it was just constant. We were just getting dinged left and right. So those have leveled out a little bit. The biggest things on that line item were like she said, the Alexander Island.
Right.
We put a lot of money into that to get that park ready for the opening. And then the 2 other big ones was the field lighting and the scoreboards over at Keller Park. And a well over at Sullivan, along with the playground equipment. So a lot of that stuff stems from like lightning strikes. So we get that over the summer every once in a while. And when those big ticket items go, Carmen and I get together and we got to figure out how to get it fixed. So
Right.
So that's what drove it this year. But everything pretty much has stabilized on the other stuff. So
Good.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the clarification.
not a problem.
If there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve Resolution 2023-24 to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget.
Second.
Vice Mayor Butland?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
And I am a yes. We are moving on to the Orlandia Heights Neighborhood Improvement District Board of Directors Secretary. It's my understanding that the position is, the request is that a member of that committee be named secretary, and under the rules how that special district operates, we need to approve or disapprove, I guess, their secretary members' reports and communications person. Is someone going to discuss that? City Clerk?
The secretary the current secretary had resigned because they had to move out of state. So we put it out there that we were looking for someone to do that, and we did have an applicant, and which is presented to you this evening. And it guess is just like a technicality that the council approves them.
Okay,
We're required to approve all board
right.
members of
And I'm
Orlandia
trying
Heights.
to call up this individual so that we can say it
Gail Kohler?
properly.
Gail
It is
Kohler.
Gail Kohler.
But it looks like she's applying for 2 different committees.
Well, I think
On
that
the
this was her application that was on file, and now she's being appointed secretary.
Okay.
Yep.
So she would have been willing to serve on either. She is already appointed. She's already appointed, or is this?
Yeah, the actual, I had run it by the chairman of
Yeah.
Orlandia Heights, and they were okay with the application, so that's why
Okay,
this.
so she indicated her willingness to serve in 2 different roles, and the Orlandia Heights group has indicated they would be happy to have her fill this role that was vacated when somebody moved. I think that's,
She's been Gail Kohler, and
She's very active in the
Yeah,
community.
she's been in the city for 39 years, so she's been here a very long time. Outstanding individual, great professional, realtor.
Right.
And so has been here for a long time and a great citizen of DeBary.
Okay. So we would have a motion to appoint her to this role, is that correct?
That's correct.
I can make a motion to appoint Gail Kohler as the secretary to the Orlandia Heights Neighborhood Improvement District.
Second?
Vice Mayor Butland?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Because of Carmen's recommendation, I'm a yes.
Okay, and I am a yes. So we move on to member reports and communications. Councilmember Sell.
Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe, have fun shopping, stay out of the rain.
Councilmember Papalardo.
So I was extremely impressed with the attendance at the Live Local workshop. Thanks for everyone for coming out. I'd like to compliment our staff. I think we're on the cutting edge of informing our residents and lobbying stakeholders to influence decisions in Tallahassee. I think this is very, very impressive that we're really leading a charge here. I'm so thankful to our staff. I also got to present at University High's School of Government class this past week. This year's class was very impressive. They were engaged. They were awake this time. Last year they were a little sleepy.
Yeah.
But that was when you have them come in at 8:30 last year, so that wasn't their fault. But they had lots of good questions, and it was a very promising group, so best of luck to them.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes, I watched you guys on the live stream on YouTube for the Live Local. Good job with that presentation. I could hear the audience there, but
Yeah.
I couldn't see them. So have been hearing from residents that have been interested and glad to be getting the knowledge. So that, and just happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you all enjoy time with your family and friends and stay safe.
Vice Mayor Butland.
Yes, I also attended the Live Local workshop, which was well-attended, as far as I can see, and they're very engaged community participants in it. They all had questions. They were all almost in jaw-dropping comments, so they were very, and I need a copy of this to pass on, so hopefully they did that. I also attended Jim's presentation at the University High School School of Government. He had a PowerPoint, because he had to have a PowerPoint. So Jim had a PowerPoint, good job on that, and the kids were really intrigued. I spoke, the mayor spoke, and it was a great thing. I also attended Monday's roundtable with the elected officials. There, Carmen did another presentation again to all the 16 cities and their mayors and city managers. And some key cities were not there, but hopefully they get the message. And yesterday I attended the Volusia League of Cities board meeting, planning the rest of the year. We have one more dinner in December, and then planning into the future for 2024. Dates are out, so we're looking to keep going with this. Happy Thanksgiving.
Similarly, I was involved in the Live Local meeting at Gateway, and I also felt that we had a good audience and they were engaged in the subject matter, which can be sort of, it's not a simple matter to comprehend. And so I was very appreciative of the fact that they didn't have their eyes glaze over and keep looking at their watch and slip out the back. I thought that was, that we had good engagement and that it went very well. Similarly, I was at the presentation on Monday for the elected officials and spoke a bit about that myself in comments at the end of the meeting where they go around the table for the mayors. I also attended CompStat. Our statistics on crime in the city continue to be probably the envy of some other cities around us. That's always a good time to review what is going on. And I was at the School of Government, and they were a very engaging group. I understand that a couple of them there are the leaders of Orange City's Youth Council, so they were also plugged in with Orange City. But I felt that they had a lot of interaction with us here, and as Councilmember Papalardo and Vice Mayor Butland have said, they had good questions, and they did stay very engaged on what we were saying, so that was great. And then this past Saturday, I did speak at the VFW for the Veterans Day commemoration there. It's always a nice, short ceremony right at 11/11/11/11, which is, the day started as Armistice Day, and the armistice took effect at 11 o'clock. They do theirs at 11/11/11/11. So it was a very good commemoration there, and fairly well attended. So I wish all of you and anyone out here watching a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and your friends, and we'll see you as we move into the holiday season. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just an update. As you know, Sherry Simmons and I went to Tallahassee. We did the elected officials roundtable, presented everything that we observed and our thoughts and concerns regarding the Live Local Act. We went to Tallahassee. We probably had 10-plus meetings over the last 48 hours. And returned back here about 4 or 5 o'clock today. We were very successful in get our messaging out to everyone. It's in the hands of our elected officials now. We've met with staff. We met with elected officials. We gave everyone has our presentation. Everyone has our recommendations, et cetera, et cetera. We continue to work with other cities. We're getting a lot of calls for our presentation from other cities and everything else. We still have a lot of repacking of this law. There's still a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of different interpretations all the way across the board, whether it's city managers, whether it's elected officials, or even property appraisers have different interpretations of how to apply the law. And so we do have some conference calls coming up next week. We'll be attending those, having a meeting with some other agencies, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're just trying to get down to the bottom of this. During the moratorium, we'll take whatever things we need to put in place to administer based upon the law to handle the administrative approvals, and we'll put those from now until the next 9 months. As we understand the law a little better and what our options are to make sure that when a project does come in, it's done with the highest of quality and it meets our standards. So thank you, Mayor, and Thanksgiving to all of y'all. Fortunately, unfortunately, I'm going to take a few days off next week, and so enjoy the holiday week. So I still will be available. I'm in town, so obviously if you have anything, you can buzz me.
Okay. City Attorney.
City Attorney's Office has nothing to report, but would like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving this evening.
Hearing no additional business, we stand adjourned.